What about buyer sentiment? You're noticing that not even over the last 6 months, but just in the last month alone, we've had the 2 rate rises, the war in Iran, obviously maybe more from the investor angle, but the news coming out about potential negative gearing change, capital gains tax reform. Have you seen a bit of a buyer sentiment change over the last few weeks or last month?
About not 3 months, probably 9 weeks ago. I can actually remember the conversation I had. I spoke to my business partner, Sean. I was like, man, this is what's happening. He's like, are you sure? Because he's running around with $5, $6, $70 million offers. And I said, look, this is what I'm noticing. It's not going to flow on to you because the price point he sells at for probably 3 months. It's just starting to now where, I'm not saying get the wobbles, but vacancy rates at 0.5%, 0.5%, you can't find a rental at that time. There was no stock. People were having to make pretty brash decisions. So the normality coming into the market now, that sentiment really is, look, if this one doesn't work out, for the first time in a while, I know I'll find another one. So today, just on the way here, we sold a property which we had 3 offers that were really close. There was 8 offers on it still. Really great result for property in South Lake. Sadly, it wasn't the highest offer that got it. It was actually the most solid terms and conditions, and the gap between that was less than 10,000. But the owner understanding, well, hang on, a couple of interest rate rises, the big healthy deposit, maybe that's where I'll go. That's the sort of mentality that's starting to creep in. A bit more logic over emotion. And I think for buyers, almost accepting that, like when I told the other people they missed out, at one point there were tears. These 2 people had missed out on 6 or 7 homes. Like, that's Shane, look, that's the game. We understand it now. So when that starts to creep in and I guess buyers are detached from the outcome because they're not expecting to get it, then there's more stock coming on the market. Pretty quickly it can change to being, well, hang on, it's not the end of the world. One will pop up, it'll work out. Whereas at the time, if you've sold your home and there's only 2,000 on the market, at one point I looked at some home opens across Perth. It was actually November. Adderdale, 4 home opens. East Freo, 5 home opens. Dalkeith, 3 home opens. Trigg, 0. North Beach, 1. And you've sold your home and you want to stay there, that's panic. Look right now, and whilst there might only be 5 or 6 in some of the suburbs, that's a fair increase from 1 to 5. So it's still very much a seller's market. There isn't a huge amount of choice, but knowing for the first time that if I take a chance in going to market, selling, maybe getting a longer settlement, there's a good chance I'll find something. That has started to creep in. And the other thing, which rightly or wrongly, we work really close to their agents, understanding to treat buyers well. Your buyer is your next seller. Audition like they're going to sell their home next week and they go, wow, here's a guy I need to represent. I do not think agents were looking after buyers at all. They certainly weren't even following them up. I went through properties, didn't even get a call back. You take my number, you check me at the front, and then you're not even calling. And I guess that's why buyers agents exist, because if we're looking after them a lot better, you wouldn't sort of have that space in the market.
Yeah, feels like we're going to be going down that next swing in the market where they're going to have to shift, I guess, with their tactics or their customer service at the end of the day.